Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new week of Road to TCG Worlds 2017. Now today we are going to be featuring a pure Mega Gardevoir deck. Now I know a couple of weeks back I featured a Mega Gardevoir Xerneas deck, which did feature the Geomancy strategy, did feature the Brilliant Arrow Mega Gardevoir, but honestly that Mega Gardevoir apparently is not the best one to play. This deck actually got a couple of spots in top 32, probably more than two, at the top 32 of Orlando Regionals, which happened just last weekend, well, a little over a week ago. And I actually played against this deck. Like, I saw it work firsthand and I really liked it. I really liked the theory behind it, I really liked the execution, and I played none other than Brit Pybas, and this is very likely an approximation to his current list, or the list he played at the event. I ended up beating him 2-0, but like the deck and and it was a really good call for the expected metagame, if you will. All the dark decks, all the Giratina decks, they definitely struggle against this deck because of resistance, low energy costs, and the fairy typing. So definitely a really good call on his part, and I was really impressed by the deck. So we are going to feature it today. So we all know, or we all should be familiar by now, with Mega Gardevoir EX 210 HP, dual typing, Psychic and Fairy, which is really good. And for a mere 2 energy you get to use this pair ray for 110 damage, and you get to discard any amount of benched Pokemon you want. And you get to add 10 damage for every benched Pokemon you discarded in this way. So, with a max bench without Skyfield, you can get up to 160 damage, and with a max bench with Skyfield, you can deal up to 190 damage. Now, those scenarios will be very rare. You will most likely be 2-hit KOing a lot of stuff, but that's okay. That is actually very okay in this format. You don't need to get crucial 1-hit KOs every single turn. Now, bad matchups for this deck: with no ability control, Greninja is definitely a bad matchup. If you saw my report on Saturday, my Orlando Regionals report, I did beat this deck. I believe Brit actually beat Sam Chen, who got top 16 at the event, but I believe overall Greninja should definitely not be a favorable matchup for him or for this deck. And I see Mega Rayquaza as very problematic because they can 1-hit KO you. You can rarely, if ever, 1-hit KO them, and therefore the price exchange never works out in your favor. You might be able to set up faster, maybe, but it seems really difficult, as both decks have very similar draw engines. So that's Mega Gardevoir EX, and then we have a split of 2 Gardevoir EX each. We have the Link Blast with Luminous Blade, which is very good because Luminous Blade can 1-hit KO Fighting Fury belted Giratinas for 3 energy, which is really good. And then we have this Gardevoir EX, which Life Leap could be good, Shining Wind could potentially be good in certain situations. Mega Scissor is another really bad matchup for this deck, but hey, you make do, right? Then we have 3 Hoopa-EX. Now that's the highest amount I've ever played in a deck. I did try out this deck quite a bit before making this video, and 3 Hoopa-EX just works magnificently. It thin outs your deck, nets you the Shaymins, you have super odds to put the cards back, etc. So Hoopa-EX are a really crucial card, and if you don't want them to get Lysandered, simply attack and get rid of them. It's that simple. And in the same train of thought as Hoopa, we have 4 Shaymin-EX. You get to draw a ton of cards, you get to use them, you get to discard them. Definitely a very good card, and it's obviously not the cheapest deck because it does have the 4-3 line, but it's definitely something that you actually need in this deck. So that covers the Pokemon. Important to note, no non-EX attackers means you can't force your opponent to a 7th price trade-off. It also means cards like Regis completely shut you out, so that's why you do need to run Ranger. I believe Brit in his original list, and Mees, who got top 8 at some European event, did not run Pokemon Ranger because I guess no one really expected Regis in the metagame, but then you get a Vileplume toolbox getting to the final, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, That's the Pokemon, and then for supporters, we have a very thin draw supporter line. We only have 2 Sycamore this time around, a single N and a single Giovanni's. Now, only 4 draw supporters, if you will, but with 4 Shaymin, 4 Trainer's Mail, and 4 Ultra Ball, and 3 Hoopa-EX, you really shouldn't have to rely on supporters in order to draw cards, and you can actually use more utility supporters such as X-Maniac, such as Lysander, such as Ranger, and even the very Giovanni. That extra 20 damage could actually be crucial in getting 1 hit KOs on 170 or 100 HP Pokemon without having to discard too many resources when under Skyfield, or without having to, or potentially being able to 1 hit KO those even if you don't have Skyfield in play. So, a very interesting cards. Brit did run a single copy of Karen, which makes a lot of sense, but unfortunately for us, I have not been given Karen just yet in this account. I do not own a single Karen, and because of the logs, I cannot input any Karen codes, I cannot trade for Karen, so for now I cannot use Karen in any decks until I actually get those cards, which will hopefully be soon because I've been asking them for a while, but yeah. And then besides that, we have 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Berserker for utility, 3 Super Rod to get back all the Pokemon we will get rid of. You will see that happen. 3 Escape Rope, so that on those rare occasions where our opponents do Lysander, a Hoopa we left on the bench or something like that, we can immediately get out of that situation. 2 Fairy Drop, which is actually really nice non-supporter healing. Healing 50 damage off of any Pokemon that has a fairy energy attached is really good. 99% of the time you will want to heal damage off of a Mega Gardevoir, which will be attacking, to try and make maybe a 2-hit KO into a 3-hit KO. So the drawback, if you will, or the requirement of having a fairy energy is not a big deal. And then we have 2 Mega Turbo to be able to keep up with the energy attachments. 4 Spirit Link because we want to maximize consistency, and 4 Skyfield because it's definitely the best stadium for this. You could argue Fairy Garden could potentially be important, but Skyfield is definitely the better choice here. So that's gonna cover the deck list. Let's move on to the games, and apparently the ladder has reset. So I didn't make it to the full art N. Not on this account, not on the regular Tablemon account, but that's okay. And as you can see, we have a ton of coins, a ton of coins. That's at least 40 packs of the evolution set, and I will be making like a huge booster pack opening video in order to, because I have so many booster packs saved up from the prize wheel prizes from the previous set where I spent my coins but I never actually opened any Steam Siege booster packs, and now evolutions. So you guys are in for a really awesome pack opening. Now our starting hand is actually not ideal. Drawing all 3 escape ropes in our starting hand seems like a statistical anomaly, if you will, but hey, who am I to question the almighty PTCGO? I did not take a look at what my opponent might be running, what types he might be running. But yeah, the Cernia's deck box and the Cernia's sleeves and the Cernia's coins definitely signified or gave indication of a potential Cernia's deck. And with these 2 basic Pokemon, we can deduce or assume it's actually a Cernia's Break Giratina deck. So with our first Ultra Ball, we're definitely gonna search for a Hoopa. We actually don't have to be worried about a Hoopa being priced, and there is 1 Mega Gardevoir priced, but that's apparently the only Pokemon that is actually priced. Then we have 1 Berserker priced, 1 Mega Turbo priced, so that's 3 prices we figured out. 1 Ultra Ball priced, that's 4. 1 Hex Maniac. Is it? No, not 1 Hex Maniac. No. 1 Skyfield, okay, that's the 5th prize, and a Fairy Energy. So those are our 6 prizes. It's definitely easier to figure out your prizes in PTCGO instead of in real life, because the cards are obviously arranged here for you. And See, the thing is, if I want to go for 2 Shaymins, yeah, I think that's a good call here, because I don't need to immediately get out all the Gardevoirs, and maybe I should have waited for the Spirit Link. I kind of want to use up all my escape ropes, but I feel like that's not going to be a good idea either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first Shaymin for 2 cards. Basically, I need a way to guarantee energy or more Pokemon. That works. That actually works. I mean, sure, I can end. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end. I'm not gonna use any more resources. I'm gonna end. I want to save the escape ropes for later on. And the end actually gives us enough good cards that I'm feeling pretty confident at this point in time. I will bench the other Gardevoir. I will attach to the active and potentially threaten the KO on the Giratina. And I'm gonna Shaymin for 3 more cards. Hoping to hit more Spirit Links. The Fairy Drop's not too useful. I'll keep the Super Rod, but I'm not gonna use it, of course. If my opponent for some reason attaches a double Dragon Energy to the Giratina EX, that would actually be good for us, because we could then one-hit KO it back with Link Blast. And yeah, there's another Giratina. Since we do have Hex Maniac and we did see it's available in the deck, like eventually we should be able to KO the Giratinas. And even if we can't, the regular Gardevoir can actually get KOs here, so it's really no big deal. We already have a Lysander in the discard pile too, so the Verse Seekers are really gonna be useful there. He actually does decide to attach the double Dragon Energy, but has the Fighting Fury Belt, has the Stadium in order to retreat and Geomancy up, which is kind of problematic. The 3 energy on the Giratina is not ideal, of course. But it's really no big deal. I feel like it's really no big deal. Let's see. He has 5 energy in play. If you were to evolve into Cernia's Break and attach an energy and maybe get 1 more max elixir, that would be 140 damage maximum. So I feel like we should still be okay here. I'm gonna end, and I mean, I can find the Mega Gardevoir. I hope to find the Mega Gardevoir, that's for sure. Potentially a Stadium as well. I would like to KO the Cernias. That would be really good here. And seems like we will be able to KO Cernias for sure, which is great. Which is obviously great. Now I'm gonna play the Hoopa down first. I'm gonna search for the 2 Mega Gardevoirs and a Shaymin, because what I really need is to secure the Hex Maniac. Once I do that, it will be game over, and I don't necessarily have to find it like immediately, you know. Yep, just gonna evolve there, and as long as, even if I need to power up our regular Gardevoir, as long as I can make that power up like a 3-hit KO from the Giratina, I should be okay here. I should be okay, and I don't want to give my opponent any more energy advantage than I need to give him. I'm gonna keep the Trainer's Mail, but I'm gonna use this Pair Ray, and I'm gonna get rid of 2 Hoopas. And I mean, I guess I could get rid of all the Shaymins, because I'm gonna be, if I do find the, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of everything. If I do find the X-Maniac, then I get the 1 KO on a Giratina EX, no matter if it has the Fighting Fury Belt or not. And that way I reduce the potential problem Pokemon, if you will, in the sense that he can't Lysander up, and if he Lysanders up any Gardevoir, I can actually deal some damage. I also get to heal 40 damage if he Lysanders up the other Gardevoir, because you heal damage equal to the amount you dealt. So yeah, even though my opponent has a part of Giratina, even though we will not be able to attach any more Spirit Links or play another Stadium card, we are okay here. We are okay as long as we eventually find the Hex Maniac. Like, as long as it's not the last card in our deck, you know? So, I'm gonna super out the Escape Rope. Draw was not ideal. I'm gonna super out back 1 Hoopa and 2 Shaymin back. Then I'm gonna use Trainer's Mail. And I can find a the Ultra Ball in order to find more Pokemon. So, with the Ultra Ball, I can also, I'm gonna discard both stadiums, I guess. What stadium is in play? Skyfield. So I don't get the free retreat luxury. What I could potentially do is play the Escape Rope. Nah. Just gonna get rid of both stadiums. I'm gonna find Hoopa, and with Hoopa, I'm gonna find 2 Shaymins. I wish I could. Okay, I'll find 3 Shaymins, whatever. Trying to maximize the odds of us finding the Hex Maniac. So, I mean, if I find energy, I'm in a good position as well, I guess. Yeah, I'll play the Escape Rope because I'm in no hurry. Like, I'm generally in no hurry at all right now, and so that I can thin out my deck just a little bit more. And even if I don't actually get to draw prize, that's also okay, because Shaymin for 1 though doesn't seem too worth it. Should I end then? I guess I'll end. Then that's gonna be the second Verse Seeker. I have Gardevoir. I have the regular Gardevoir. I really shouldn't be worried about this at all. I'll just play the end. I will simply play the end. So I cannot touch this Giratina as of now, but I do find an energy, so I can deal 40 damage to it, which is cool. Could have used Escape Rope once again. Still no sign of the Hex Maniac, which is obviously not great, but I'm sure we'll find it eventually, you know, eventually. And the game's probably gonna come down to, will I be able to find the Versus Seeker in time to reuse the Hex Maniac and get a KO or something like that. Even if my opponent was using a Darkrai version, maybe he would be putting a little bit more pressure on us. If he plays the end, that's great, because that's just another out for us to try and find Hex Maniac potentially. If he replaces the stadium, that's also fine. Our Mega Gardevoir will 100% be 3-hit KO or 2-hit KO'd from this point onwards by the Giratina EX. He decides to limit my bench, and I am okay with that. May not be ideal right now, because if he does attack with the bench Giratina EX, I cannot replace the stadium, and I actually already discarded 2 Skyfield, so my bench will actually be limited. That also limits my draw quite a bit. So if there's any way my opponent is gonna be able to put himself in the game, this is gonna be it. Shaymins for 4 more cards. Now, he's probably looking for a Float Stone, because he cannot play Fairy Garden. He already played a stadium. He can only play 1 stadium card per turn. Therefore, that Giratina EX might end up actually getting stuck in the active slot. Now, if I do Escape Rope next turn, my opponent might have a really difficult choice. Okay. So I guess it's just not in us to to find the X-Maniac anytime soon. We keep getting the Sycamore, so I guess I'll use that. And see, the thing is, I generally don't know, and I don't think I should use the escape rope. I mean the Super Rod, because I'll be making my deck thicker by 3 cards when I actually want to make it thinner. And with that stadium in play, I will rarely have the chance to abuse more abilities and things like that. And wow, Norbert actually opts to attach an energy there. And wow, okay, so I top deck the stadium, which is very nice. Very, very nice. I am allowed to play tool cards as well this turn. I will attach to the active Gardevoir. Now I feel differently about my Super Rod saying. So I guess I'll use it. I'll put back both Shaymins and a Hoopa. And then I'm gonna use this first Shaymin. See what I get here. Get another energy, get a Mega Turbo. Not bad, I guess. Definitely not bad. If I deal damage right now, yeah, I think I'm good here. I generally think I'm good. So I'm just gonna Life Leap for another 40 damage. Then my opponent will deal 110 damage. But I can KO him. And I'm still gonna have to rely on the Hex Maniac. Still gonna have to rely on the Hex Maniac. Because he has back-to-back attacks, right? He has back-to-back attacks. And I guess it's good that I don't play down the Hoopa or the Shaymins because of the fact that, and yeah, the Super Rod I wanna save for energy more so than anything else. So he's gonna end once again. That's okay. Gives us another chance to find the Hex Maniac, which we know is in there somewhere. Okay, so he deals 110 damage, but look at that. We actually draw the Giovannis, but no. Okay, so how much damage? I will deal 80, therefore heal 80 damage, but I will still not KO. I'm still gonna use the Giovannis though. I can obviously only use that effect, and then I'm just gonna Life Leap here. That's pretty cool. Now it's at 160 damage. Still not enough to KO after the Fighting Fury belt though. Still not enough. He's gonna deal 110. I'll be at 140 damage, and yeah, that's still gonna be a 2-hit KO. So I guess the fairy drop's not too important. It's actually not too important. Wow, my opponent decides to Lysander a Shaymin-EX to KO it. I am actually very okay with that, I think. I am actually very okay with that. Because, yeah. I promote Gardevoir, and then if I can draw a Versus Seeker here, if I can actually draw Versus Seeker, I can KO and completely heal myself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the Fairy Drop on the benched Mega Gardevoir. And then I'm gonna Shaymin for 2 cards. See what I get. Another Shaymin and another Shaymin, and yeah, I kind of really want to Sycamore here, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna Sycamore. Now what I need is an energy. That's all I really need, and I do get it, so that's pretty cool. There's the energy, and here's what happens next turn. My opponent, next turn, my opponent deals 110 damage, and then hopefully he might end me, but then I will have access to Shaymins and Hoopa in order to find our few last Verseekers. There's a Mega Turbo, so apparently one Verseeker was priced. Well, it's good that it's now no longer priced. So we can either find Hex Maniac, retreat, and get the KO. We can find the Verseeker into Giovanni to get the KO. We have 2 Trainer's Mail left. We have a ton of Shaymin left. So, and our deck is actually pretty thin. And we already have the Verseeker, so if for some reason my opponent doesn't end me this turn, we are going to be very okay here. He actually chooses to Lysander. That's interesting. That's interesting and kind of scary. He goes down to 2 prices, right? He goes down to 2 prices. But I get the KO on Giratina here, because I have the Verseeker. What I'm not gonna do is bench a Shaymin so that he doesn't have an easy target. Gonna Verseeker for the Giovanni. I can attack the Giratina, which is obviously great. And then we have the Lysander for the win next turn. We have a ton of resources where we can find more things. Gonna attach energy to Mega Gardevoir to make it a threat as well. And we should be good here. We should be good. Even though my opponent is down to 2 prices by KOing 2 Shaymins, we are down to 1, and we have Mega Gardevoir to KO whatever we want. We actually have another Mega Gardevoir now that it's out of the prices. And even if my opponent does end me down to 1 card, that means that he will not be able to Lysander something up, and therefore I have a chance. I will only need 1 more basic Pokemon in order to get the KO with the Mega Gardevoir. And seeing how my deck is filled with Shaymins, Hoopas, a potential Ultra Ball, a ton of Trainer's Mail, another Verseeker, a Lysander even, so that I can KO Shaymin. Yeah, we really should be good here. Unless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unless my opponent had actually hit 2 Max Elixirs and the double Dragon Energy to deal 140 damage, that would have been really scary. I'm not gonna lie, that would have been very scary, and that would have meant the loss. But he whiffed the Max Elixir, so the maximum damage he can deal now is 100. And yeah, he has to end here. Oh, he's gonna Lysander. Oh boy. Okay. So he's gonna try and catch us off guard there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I still have 1 escape rope left, so I'm not worried. I am actually not worried here. And I top deck the Hex Maniac. Finally. Okay. So let me think this through. I want to use up as many cards as humanly possible, because all I need is the escape rope to win. That's all I absolutely need. So I am going to Ultra Ball. Doesn't matter which one I Ultra Ball. I guess it's better to Ultra Ball away the Lysander. Definitely the Mega Turbo. Probably the Lysander. No, the Hex Maniac. Because if I use the escape rope, he obviously promotes. What is my win condition here? The escape rope, right? 100% the escape rope. So I need an out for the escape rope, and I can't play either. So I'm gonna keep the. I want to make sure I don't mess up here. I'm gonna keep the Hex Maniac to make the fancy play against the Giratina. So I'm gonna grab the Hoopa, right? And then I'm gonna play the first Shaymin down. That's gonna give me an extra 2 cards, which is great. We see a Mega Turbo and another Shaymin. And then I am going to play down the Hoopa, and that will give me the Shaymin. And as you can see, my deck has 5 cards. 4 of those are not the escape rope. 1 of those is the escape rope. So as long as I draw 1 card off of this next Shaymin, my deck will be exactly 4 cards, which means the Ultra Ball, the Trainer's Mail will guarantee the escape rope, and there you go. So I'm gonna use the escape rope. My opponent will promote the Giratina, but I even have the KO with Giratina with the Gardevoir-EX, so never mind. I didn't need either of those cards. I guess I'll do the fancy play here. I'm gonna do the fancy Hex Maniac play, and I'm just gonna KO Giratina for the win. And I'm gonna discard all of my benched Pokemon. So wow, that really took a while, but I feel like even though the match seemed close, I was always in control as long as normal conditions happened, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, there we go. There we go. This deck is really good, and the flow of Hoopas and Shaymins and returning them to deck and Gardevoir and all of that, I feel like that's really good synergy, really good deck building. So huge props to Brit and Mees if they worked on the list at the same time, or I generally don't know, but if they did, huge props to both. If they came up with it separately, then same props to them. And now we might be up against a Typhlosion deck, because Volcanion-EX is currently banned from TCGO because of a weird bug. So what other viable fire type is there? Well, there's only Typhlosion. My hand is very bad. My hand is actually very bad. Really bad. So that's all I'm gonna bench for now, and I am generally very scared. And yep, there is a Cyndaquil, so we might be in for quite a bit of trouble here. Wow, my opponent immediately Sycamores, and it makes sense. His hand was absolutely horrible. He benches another Cyndaquil and passes. Our top deck is our third Hoopa-EX. So the previous game we had all 3 escape ropes in our starting hand. This time around we actually have all 3 Hoopa-EXs already out in the field, and I think I'm gonna waste both escape ropes. I generally think I'm gonna end up wasting both escape ropes, which sucks. Really sucks. Although I guess against that deck it doesn't really make that much a difference. If he ever does try to Lysander or whatever, I don't know. I generally think it doesn't really matter, and I just want to maximize my Shaymin draw here, which is 3, which is quite pathetic actually, but we might be able to do something here. The Trainer's Mail will net us. Nope. Trainer's Mail means we are currently stuck without doing anything. And oh, never mind, I did draw the stadium, therefore I can play my third Hoopa-EX and find more Shaymins. Wow, I was really scared for a second there. Now I'll only go for 2 Shaymins. I will only go for 2 Shaymins. The first one will net me 3. Hopefully the second one nets me the same 3 or maybe more. And man, this is just not gonna. We're just not gonna draw too many things today. Okay, so a Trainer's Mail gives us an N, which is nice. I'm gonna use N before I use the Shaymin. Hopefully I get 1 energy at least here. Okay, so we do get the energy. Great. I'm gonna power up a benched Gardevoir, because I have a feeling the active one will most likely get KO'd. We're not gonna need more Gardevoirs than this, so it doesn't really make a difference, and that's all I'm gonna do for now, and then we'll see what happens next turn. There's an Ultra Ball, so I guess the colorless Pokemon were most likely Talonflame. My opponent actually goes for a Kulava though, but evolves the bench Cyndaquil, so it's probably gonna bank on. No, he's just gonna tackle. Okay, so no supporter, no anything for my opponent. Now my energy on the bench seems quite silly. The healing is definitely doesn't really matter too much. I'm gonna grab a Mega, and now I wonder if I should evolve the active. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna evolve the active. First I'm gonna Shaymin for 5 more cards, and then I will most likely end up using Sycamore. And okay, so 3 fairy energy. That was not what I was looking for, really. I'm gonna grab the stadium so that I can discard it. I want the Mega Turbo. I wanted the Mega Turbo with an Ultra Ball. I did not get that. And now I have an important decision here, and here's my decision. I'm gonna escape rope, my last escape rope, into this Gardevoir-EX, and I'm gonna Sycamore here. Off of the remaining cards, I should be able to find a Mega Gardevoir or an Ultra Ball. I actually find both, which is great. And now, how much HP does Typhlosion have? That's a really important question, because I could discard all the non-useful Pokemon, such as the 3 Shaymin and the 3 Hoopa. Yeah, and I still have Super Rods left. So I'm gonna discard all of those, and potentially the regular Gardevoir. Nah, I'll keep that one. I'll just get rid of the bad Pokemon, if you will. And I say bad because they're now bad that I've used the abilities, but before that, they were obviously very, very good. So my opponent is down to 3 cards. I get a Super out of my prizes, which is great. And now he's down to top decking Rare Candy at Typhlosion. Okay, so he has teammates. So we're probably going to see a KO here, but as long as I don't have absolutely terrible luck, I should be able to get the KO back. He does bench on our Cyndaquil, and he's gonna go for the Massive Eruption, and I think he whiffed. Yep, he whiffed the KO. So not good news for my opponents. Definitely not good news. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Super Red back a Hoopa and 2 Shaymin, and then I could Fairy Drop. That would put me back down to 130 damage, and therefore force my opponent to get 2 energy instead of just 1, which I guess is worth it. With the Ultra Ball, I will discard the Lysander and the Ultra Ball because I want to target the Typhlosion, and I'm gonna grab a Hoopa. And then with the Hoopa, I will find a couple of Shaymin, or potentially 3 Shaymin. Yeah, I'm gonna grab all 3 Shaymin. I could grab the Mega. I guess it's better to grab the Mega, because it's a card I can play down immediately. So yeah, as long as my opponent doesn't have absolute magic off of his 2-card hand, we should be very good here. I'm gonna use the first Shaymin for a mere 2 cards, and I'm gonna get another Shaymin and an energy. I will play the energy, doesn't really matter to which Mega Gardevoir. I'm gonna use a Trainer's Mail, hoping to hit a Mega Turbo, but I don't. I actually hit a Giovanni's, which that's gonna be my supporter for the turn. I have yet to play a supporter. By using Giovanni for the extra damage, I only need to get rid of 2 Pokemon instead of so many, and with that I'm gonna Despair Ray, and I'm only gonna discard these 2. I don't need to bench the other 2 Shaymin, and yeah, I get the KO. So what does my opponent have there? What does my opponent have? We shall see. Okay, he has a Sycamore, so he needs, even if he gets a Rare Candy Typhlosion and gets 2 energy to KO, that is perfectly fine, because I have the energy and I have 2 Shaymins, and yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean, Typhlosion is an interesting deck. It's a cheap deck, but it's not a good deck. You might scrape off some wins, but it's gonna be really hard for you to win consistently because you need a high energy count for your damage output. Therefore, that limits the amount of other cards you can actually use. Okay, so Lightning Water type deck. This might be Jolteon, Glaceon, Regice. This might be. I generally do not know. But I do not like my starting hand. That I do know. It's the one thing I do know. Unless I top deck a Hoopa or an Ultra Ball, or my opponent uses N, I definitely am not a fan of this hand. Now the Octillery, or the Remoraid means Octillery, and the Rare Candy means, yep, Magnezone. So I was completely off by my calculations. Magnetic Circuit will allow him to power up a potential Regice, a potential Raichu, a potential Jolteon, even a potential Glaceon if it does run water energies. But looks like his choice of attacker is Raichu. The water typing might only be for Remoraid, and wow. That Spirit Link top deck is obviously not ideal. Oh boy, that was really bad. Okay, so we do find more resources, which is nice. Gonna get rid of the Hex Maniac, and with Skyfield, Raiku's not a threat. Even without Skyfield, I can get KOs. The Hex Maniac, it's like a double plus power in this case. And yeah, let's see first my prize cards. Okay, so there's one Verseeker in the deck, one in my hand, and one in my discard pile. So there's one Verseeker prized, there's an Escape Rope, so there's one Escape Rope prized. I believe there's one Shaymin prized, yes. And then there's a Sycamore. Oh no, there's no Sycamore. There's a Skyfield. No, there's no Skyfield. Wow, there's 3 energy prized. Yikes, that's very bad. That is actually very, very bad. All these threes. Game 1 we got 3 Escape Ropes. Game 2 we got 3 Hoopas, and now game 3 we get 3 energy in our prize cards. So things are not looking too great for us. Okay, so there's 3 Pokemon. I'm gonna touch the energy to whatever. Gardevoir doesn't really make a difference. Could have played the Escape Rope, but yeah, I guess I should have played the Escape Rope. But it's really no big deal. Okay, so let's see what the Trainer's Mail finds us here. None of those cards I want at this point in time. I mean, sure, I'll play the Escape Rope, I guess. There's no way he attacks us, right? Well, he could have DCE, actually. So I'm gonna do the safe play. I don't want him finding a Floatstone and then KOing us. So I'm gonna use Life Leaf for 0 damage because of Raiku's ability, and that will be all. But next turn I should have access to more Shaymins. I should have, hopefully I will find the Mega and the Spirit Link and an energy. But my deck, with knowing there's 3 energy in my prizes and knowing I already discarded 2 Spirit Links, odds of getting that are generally not very high. They are generally not very high. So we're gonna see a Skyla for an Ultra Ball, but we know my opponent doesn't have Shaymin, so he's gonna Ultra Ball into Octillery, and he actually sacrificed not only the Stadium but the Magnemite drop on the previous turn. So that's good news for us, I guess. It's definitely good news. There's the energy for the turn, so no DCE, no risk of getting damage, and no Magnemite drop either. So we actually get the energy we needed, which is awesome. And we're gonna Sycamore for a brand new 7 cards here. There's no reason not to do that. So now we're looking for a Spirit Link and the Mega Gardevoir. There's a Spirit Link and there's a Hoopa. So we might actually end up sealing the game right here, because my opponent will literally have nothing after I KO this Raichu. And as long as I don't misplay the maths here, I should be good. I generally should be good. There's the Mega. We need to discard 3 Pokemon in order to KO here, and only 3. So I'm gonna use this Pair Ray, get rid of both Hoopas and the non-Spirit linked Shaymin. Why is that? Because maybe there'll come a point, like I'm just trying to think way ahead. There may come a point where I need the Spirit Link, so I might need to power up Shaymin and use High Return so I get the Spirit Link back, so I have access to the Spirit Link, blah blah blah. But I mean, the board currently doesn't merit such plays, if you will, and I'll probably end up discarding Shaymin eventually. But you never know, right? I mean, a lot of things can go wrong in Pokemon, especially because it's generally a game of luck, if you will. So yeah, I mean, we already see another Raichu with a Fighting Fury belt, giving it 160 HP, and then with its ability, that's gonna make it a lot harder for us to get the KO there. So yeah, that's starting to complicate things, right? You can start to see how that complicates things. Gonna get rid of Octillery so that I get rid of his draw. I don't think he will make the mistake of my mouse is acting weird. But I have good news, guys. I actually have really good news. I should be getting a new computer very soon. Very soon. Like later than I hoped, but it's gonna be soon. Like by the time Sun and Moon comes out, I will hopefully have my new computer available to me by then. Yikes. Okay, so there's a Magnezone, Candy Magnezone. I did not have a Lysander, but I could have maybe anticipated this and played the Hex Maniac to prevent this from happening. And my opponent has a Fisherman in order to power up the Raichu, in order for him to get the KO. So I mean, he's gonna damage heavily my Mega Gardevoir. He's not gonna be able to KO it, but because of the Spirit Link situation, I do need to KO this Raichu right here, right now. So if I use Hex Maniac, I will only need to discard 5 Pokemon. But before I use the Hex Maniac, I want to use Hoopa, and the Ultra Ball top deck is actually really good here. It's actually really good. So I'm gonna return the 3 basic Pokemon, because those are the ones I actually get to discard. With the Ultra Ball, I'm gonna get rid of the Mega Turbo and the Sycamore. Yeah, and the Sycamore. And then, I mean, I shouldn't be afraid to discard Gardevoirs. I will only have access to 2 Mega Gardevoirs, and this Mega Gardevoir is definitely paying for itself, so it's really no big deal there. I will play down the Hoopa. I will go fetch for the Shaymin. I'm not gonna grab the Mega Gardevoir because I have no other Spirit Link in play. I mean, I do, but it's on a Shaymin, not on a Gardevoir. And okay, so there's 2 things I can do here. I can Hex Maniac first to draw an extra card with Shaymin, but if I Hex Maniac, I cannot draw cards with Shaymin, so I'm obviously not gonna do that. I was joking. Okay, so now if I Hex Maniac, Raichu still has 160 HP, but he doesn't have his Shining Body ability. Therefore, I only need to discard 5 Pokemon. And I could simply discard everything that doesn't have an energy. And that's gonna be my play here. That is gonna be 100% my play. Hex Maniac also means that my opponent will not have access to Magnezone, therefore he will not be able to power up another attacker next turn, and I mean he only has one card in hand. So yeah, there we go. The Spirit Link play ends up not mattering at all, but I am more than okay with the current situation. My Gardevoir is damaged, but it's at a very low risk of getting KO'd. Next turn I can actually Lysander and potentially KO the Magnezone as well to prevent the energy acceleration for my opponent. And my opponent is down to one card in his hand. He has yet to play a draw supporter. He has only played Skyla, I believe, and Bridget, I guess, and Fisherman, okay, but none of those are really draw supporters. And my opponent does decide to Lysander, so I have the escape rope. It's no big deal. My opponent has literally no cards in his hand. I actually top deck a super odd. I'm gonna put back a Hoopa. No, not a Hoopa. I'm gonna put back both Gardevoirs and a Shaymin. That's what I'm gonna put back. And then I am going to escape rope. My opponent will simply promote the other Raichu, which is understandable, but then I will Lysander his Magnezone. There we go. Now I'm gonna Lysander the Magnezone. And now I need to discard 3 Pokemon. And even though I would maybe discard the Gardevoir, I might be forced to discard the Gardevoir. It's really no big deal. And that Ultra Ball guarantees that I don't have to discard the Gardevoir. I'm gonna get rid of the N and the Mega, because I'd rather discard other things than the Gardevoir that has an energy. And after I KO this Magnezone with no cards in hand, no energy in play, and no Magnezone in play to accelerate his energy, like there should be a 99.99999% of chance of me winning this game at this point in time. I generally think that's true. Yeah, and there's the victory. So there you have it, guys. Definitely didn't play against the most competitive decks in the other 2 games, and like the game 2 and 3. But this is how the deck works. It's really fast. Powers up Mega Gardevoirs out of the blue. Has a ton of utility resources between Hexmaniac, between Lysanders, between N, between Mega Turbos, between Fairy Drops, Giovanni's, and whatever else, Ranger. So you can abuse all of that while you're recycling your Hoopas, you're recycling your Shaymins. Definitely a very, very good deck. And yeah, so if you've made it this far, I would like to ask you something very special of you guys. The channel is growing like it's never grown before. Everything is going extremely well, and I am very grateful for that. The only thing, there's one thing that we're lacking in. It's likes on videos. It takes 1 second to like the video. Like if you go right down, scroll a little bit, click the like button, and then come back up, that really helps out the videos. It really helps out with the search engines, and so that the videos appear at the top, and when people search for a Mega Gardevoir deck, for a Ratigate break deck, for whatever else, and it gives the channel a bigger audience, it gets more people to a channel, etc, etc, etc. So if you can leave a like, I would really appreciate it. If we can get this Mega Gardevoir video to 100 likes, you guys would be my absolute idols. That would mean the world to me. And in exchange, soon enough, we will get a new computer, so the frame rate will be a lot better. The games should be a lot cleaner. The game should flow a lot better, and that will allow me to produce even more content. So hopefully you guys are excited for that, because new computer also means Tablemon streaming. That's gonna start happening on a regular schedule before the end of the year, or maybe like just at the beginning of next year, like January 1st maybe. But yeah, a ton of new things coming to the channel, and I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for Pokemon Sun and Moon. So if you can get this video to 100 likes, it will really mean the world to me. And if we can keep up the like goal for every English video, that would be absolutely incredible. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys on Wednesday, where we get to see the Vileplume Toolbox deck. Bye bye.